Hey guys, it's episode 7. No, I'm kidding. I'm not.
Hey guys, hello. Imagine you actually start that way. That'd be kind of crazy. Maybe that's the official start. So hey guys, we are back for episode 7 of the Last Buzz podcast, brought to you by Husky and my boy Glenny B, which is holding
Our
the prime bottle.
sponsor. It's a sponsor for the episode. Everyone, lots of potassium. Easily could get kidney stones after this.
Oh,
So
100%. But
that's why
it
we
also
drink it.
sponsored KSI's video clip. I'm in the thick of it. Everybody knows. I'm pretty sure that's the prime that was in the video
Oh really?
before he goes in the mountains and skis and it gets cold or whatever. But yeah, what a
Oh,
great intro to an episode for our thousands of family members that watch this show. Honestly, like, I'm starting it this epi, kind of
yeah.
going crazy right off the
Screw it.
bat. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel if you can,
Comment.
comment. Little reminder, we have this little giveaway that we'll do once we reach our first 1,000 subscribers in 2027 or 2028. You'll get the chance to win a Fanatics jersey right above the practice jersey, or a PWHL official jersey of the player of your choice, regardless of the league, regardless of the player. Yeah, so just subscribe and enroll your chance to win.
Yes.
No purchase necessary. All
That's
for
it.
free, baby.
So, LA, with that out of the way, how has your week been? How was your weekend?
It went well. Sorry, I'm fighting with my dog. That's gonna start squeaking the door in a few seconds.
Oh
So
no, keep it
apologies
in.
about
Keep it
that.
in.
My weekend. What did I do this weekend?
You went to a funeral.
I did. Shout out funerals. Every time you go to a funeral salon, I don't know if you noticed, but it always smells the same. Like, I haven't been to that many. Like, I'm lucky, I guess. But every time, it doesn't matter which funeral house it is, it just smells the same. It's
I
quite
th-
unique.
yeah, I think the common theme is that there is like a dead person's body air looming in the room.
It's a bunch of
Um,
ghosts.
yeah, and it gives off a specific scent. So I think that's what your nostrils are picking up.
Yeah, we started the episode pretty dark. If that doesn't
Dark
trigger
like
some
the
people.
sky outside because it's
Exactly.
winter, it's miserable, and this episode is actually brought to you by Cal Tire. Go get your fucking tires changed by Cal Tire or Canadian Tire or Costco. They're all the presenting sponsors because nobody knows how to drive here in Calgary, LA. Nobody. We got 5 centimeters of snow yesterday, maybe a bit more.
Yeah.
Dozens of cars in the ditch on the highway. Granted, they don't put a lot of salt down here, but people
Yeah,
just
but it
stink at
keeps the
driving.
roads nice, like it's the
Of
salt here
course.
and all those little rocks that just destroy the asphalt in Montreal. So like at least it keeps the road nice, but the cars get off the road too. So I guess if there's less cars on the roads, they'll keep them nice as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Calgary. I'm gonna speak in my mic this episode, guys, so you might actually hear what I say this time. For the first episode, episode 7. Shout out me. I think we can jump right into
Yes,
the
sir.
NHL. I think this will be a hockey only episode. Um, as I say that, sound. Um, Vegas Grand Prix this weekend.
Yeah, I was
I
just
hope you
thinking about.
guys tune in. I think it'll be a great event. We'll see if there's any like more awkward things that happened like last year at the end of the race where they shoved the top 3 people in the car and they had no
That was
idea
the
where they were
best.
going.
That was the best.
They were kidnapped, and then like Verstappen was like in the middle. So like, yeah, stay tuned. We'll talk about that probably on next week's episode. But this week, I think we're gonna start off strong. Mech Jesus reaching 1,000 points. Um,
He's only 16 years old, and he reached 1,000 points. No, he's 27 years old, 99th player to ever reach 1,000 points, but he's the fourth fastest and fourth youngest
yeah,
to achieve this milestone. It's unbelievable, and this brings up the discussion of will he ever reach 2,000 points? And I'm willing to put, a mortgage on the fact that he will. Would you put your condo as collateral damage?
Would I put it as collateral damage? I don't know, but honestly, wouldn't be shocked if he does. Like, just seeing him play against the Habs this weekend, where surprisingly Montembelo shut him out, and the whole Edmonton team, I didn't watch the whole game, but just the part where he just skating around the offensive zone, well, Montreal's defensive zone, his offensive zone, and he's like looping around the zone, doing whatever he wants, and then he just gets the pass to his player that just misses the net, and you just see him like smash a stick to the boards. Like, he just can't believe it. Like, this guy can do whatever he wants. Just a moment, please.
He's in a different league. You know what I mean? Like, I saw one very quick play of him like exiting the zone, but he had the puck, and he sort of like mentioned or like gestured to Brett Kulak to skate down the side of the boards to like as a little give and go. Kulak did not see that coming at all. So, and then it was like an offside or something like that, and you see McDavid shaking his head. So that's just bad morale.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. He doesn't only care about his personal accolades. I know for a fact that all he wants to do is win the cup.
Yeah.
Too bad
And
he had a chance, sorry, to do that in Game 7. But
yeah, and it's funny you mentioned Kulak, because that also reminds me of, Arbor Xhekaj just completely demolishing Zach Hyman in the middle of the
oh
ice, and
yeah,
then you just see Kulak like about to go and like maybe start a scrap until he realizes it's Xhekaj, and he just see him skate right by him. So honestly, like,
yeah.
smart decision on his end. I'm pretty
Skated
sure
down the tunnel.
like he did not want to like feel the same thing as Jamie Benn felt against the Boston
Mm.
Bruins. Um, I saw the event, but if you want to just walk us through it, Glenn, like Jamie Benn just dummying Brendan
Yeah,
Carlo.
yeah. Jamie Benn, I guess he woke up that morning on the wrong side of the bed, and yeah, he decided to murder someone in a live sports match, and yeah, man, like it was such a dirty hit and he's a captain, he's a veteran, it has no place in this game, right? And yeah, it was like I think he sort of slammed Carlo at like the goal line into the boards, and yeah, dude, like just dummied him. Oh, I can't hear you, by the way.
Yeah, I muted my mic while I
Oh,
put you
nice.
on the thing. So rookie mistake, dash one Allen. But yeah, like it's just like Carlo was in a very vulnerable position. We all know like
Very vulnerable.
if you're not near the board, like to absorb the contact of the hit, and there's a little gap between it, like any hit will just destroy you literally. But then shout out to Zadorov, like, stepping in and just being like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. That specimen of a human that the Bruins, got to try to help out their decor, which we
It,
realized today it's
yeah,
not
I wasn't
it
good.
it didn't pay off, and someone had to pay the price. And right before the podcast started a few hours ago is when we saw that the head coach of the Boston Bruins, Mr. Montgomery, was sacked by the team,
Sacked.
replaced by Sacco. Kind of fitting
Mm.
the situation. Um, and I was getting ready for the episode, so I'm gonna shoot some stats here. I'm gonna
Ooh.
put myself front and center. So I was googling this Joe Sacco, because I realized like a bunch of the NHL coaches these days, like they used to be goons back in their
Okay.
playing days, like Bruce Boudreau and whatever. I think they were all goons. So I'm checking this guy's stats. Like played close to 1,000 games, and I was like, I know he was a coach with the Colorado Avalanche before. I think like he was replaced by Patrick Roy. So I'm looking at his stats.
Really?
So as a head coach of the Colorado Avalanche, first year made the playoffs. The next three out of the playoffs, I think that's when he was sacked by Colorado and replaced by Patrick Roy. Then we know the story where he made this like the playoffs his first year. They went on the little run. That was crazy. But after that, he went to go on and be an assistant coach for the Buffalo Sabres for a year before spending the last I think you see here 10 years as an assistant coach for the Boston Bruins. And this year, all of a sudden, like Mikey Grinelli said on the Spitting Chiclet podcast, he was promoted as an associate coach. I'm checking that on
Mm.
HockeyDB. And clearly there was a reasoning behind it. They, for some reason, they didn't have any faith in Dave Montgomery, which is
Jim.
kind of crazy. Jim Montgomery, sorry. I don't know why I'm saying Dave. Dave Montgomery, shout out the NFL player. Um, but yeah, and I saw another stat, like it's the second coach that they sack in the last couple of years. Like their second coach, I think both of them had over a 600, .600 win
Yeah.
percentage.
I think they had like the best stats in like history, and they fired both of them. Now,
Yeah.
let's be real, guys. This is not a coaching
No.
issue. It's a personnel and I'm gonna say upper management, um, issue. The sack on the upper management to sack Jim Montgomery and hire Sacco.
Yeah.
It's honestly it makes me sack to my stomach, and that was terrible. No, but yeah,
Yeah.
like it's not gonna get better. They stink. These
Yeah.
players they don't have the right pieces to even make the playoffs. Look around the league, they just don't have what it takes to, even be a wild card team. So
Yeah.
I
Like
don't
the
know.
acquisitions like haven't been working. We mentioned
No,
Zadorov. We mentioned well, we didn't mention, but I'm bringing up Elias Lindholm. That was supposed to be like their number one center. Like they have a kind of an aging core. They have some younger players coming up. They just sent down Mathieu Poitras back to the AHL because they weren't performing well. We had in our notes that they had lost their third, maybe that'll be fourth straight game,
yeah,
losing against Columbus 5-1. The
that's bad.
fans like just started booing them. Like I don't think I've ever seen that for the Bruins even before that, and that's when those firing rumors came back again. And today it just like it
It
happened,
happened,
and
yeah.
we'll see what happens with the Bruins going forward.
And this might cause a domino effect within the rest of the league because usually teams sort of wait around to see whichever other coaches get fired. But this year, Boston makes the you know, first fire, and let's see what happens. Um, like, which team would like to hire Montgomery?
Yeah, like I'm
So,
reading a lot of things like Detroit might be one of the top teams because
uh,
they think that like Derek Lalonde might not be doing like the proper job with the core that they have. But Merles came up with the. I don't know if you can hear the squeaking in the background.
no, I love it.
Okay, so yeah, he's just loving his cupcake toy right now. He's like
Hmm.
a squeaker fanatic. Shout out to the company for the giveaway. But Merles was mentioning like Sergei Fedorov to maybe become coach for the Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah,
That'd be
that's
kind
a
of
reach.
crazy.
It's a reach, but that would be kind
Yeah,
of crazy.
it'd be kind of cool. But if we stick to the West, let's talk about the Colorado Avalanche a bit. We mentioned Joe Drouin coming back in the lineup.
Jonathan.
Jonathan, the pride of Quebec. He came back. I'm not sure if he had such a big impact, but who I know that did not have a great impact is Valerina Shushkin. Didn't watch the game to be honest, but I have him on my fantasy team, thinking I had a steal. And first game back, he gives me a dash 1.1 point. So
Ooh.
terrible start for him. Hopefully
He's
he
getting
picks
some
it
anger
back
out.
up.
He's getting
He
some anger
does.
out. I believe, you know, he was in the players' assistance program for a while, on and off, the last few years. I think around the playoff time, he keeps, getting into some sort of trouble
Hmm.
with drugs and alcohol. So we just hope that he's able to stick around this time. And it's always at the worst time too. It's during the playoffs when your team needs you the most. And I'm not trying to say it's selfish. He has demons that he's trying to fight,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But I wouldn't blame fans that would say, oh, that it's selfish of him to do that. But back to Jonathan Drouin,
yeah,
he was out of the lineup for a bit. He was one of those like 6 to 9 like
yeah,
top 9 guys who were injured. And
yeah,
we mentioned last week the reason why he was out was just a lingering upper hip issue from a big pothole that he hit in Montreal
yeah,
on the way to a home game that he for sure didn't score any points. So
yeah,
yeah, I'm glad to see him. He's back, but let's face it, that those potholes that's for life. That lingers around for life. So I just hope he's able to pursue and persevere.
Yeah, shout out to Jonathan Drouin.
Pursue.
I heard he has neck issues too for having to flow for so long in Montreal.
Okay.
He used to work so hard and that would get like extra wet, so added weight to his neck, pulling
Uh,
back as he skates. But shout out to him. Happy to see that he's back. Um, if we talk about shouting out people, we shouted out McJesus for having 1,000 points, but someone else reached 1,000 games played in the NHL. Oliver Ekman Larson.
yes, sir.
Crazy career. Like he had an amazing start with Arizona, or the Coyotes back in the days.
The
Not
the
Coyotes.
Yetis.
The Phoenix, Arizona. I can't even say it, bro. Like
Phoenix, Arizona.
they changed team names like a few times while being in the same freaking state or like area in the U.S.
Yeah.
But he used to be a goat there. Struggled a bit. I forget where he signed. Where he I think it was with Vancouver. He struggled a bit.
Well, shocker.
Yeah, shocker. Everyone's struggling, and
We'll get into Vancouver later.
facts. But then won the cup with Florida. Picked it
So
back up a
sick.
bit. Got himself a contract with the Leafs.
Yeah.
I'm like blanking right now.
No,
Holy
no,
shit.
he's with the Leafs.
Yeah. So yeah, he's the Leafs. I'm just gonna let's talk about it. Honestly, I don't want to talk about the Leafs.
Move on entirely. No, like let's be real. He's probably at some point going to struggle with Toronto just because the media and the fan base are pieces of shit.
Tough market.
No, it's a really tough market, but it is what it is. He decided to sign there. Terrible tax rate, and I'm sure he sits in 45 minutes of traffic on the way to the game. But that was his choice, right?
Yeah.
Imagine, like, I would have signed for way less money to stay in Florida.
Oh,
Florida,
100%.
like that's the dream, guys. Like, you
Yeah.
apparently they have a beautiful training facility. You drive there in your golf cart. Like you're in flip flops on the way to your practice
Yeah.
every day,
Yeah.
and
I saw
then
that,
people in Canada, they're miserable. But
especially in Calgary with like 35,000 centimeters of snow and like no, on November
already,
18th.
yeah, if you guys could tell, the snow is just getting to my brain.
He only mentioned it 4 to 5 times in the first 18 minutes of this episode, where half
Yeah,
the people already signed off. But for those who are still here, shout out to you, and shout out to the Bolts for handing the Jets their second loss this season.
let's go. The
What
Bolts, man.
like we spoke about it last episode, where like the Bolts were for sure going to lose against
Yeah.
the Jets on the heater. But can you tell me a bit more about the game? What happened?
I also said, God damn it, Albie. Oh, fuck. Fuck's sake. Did you see that toss?
Yeah, and I was like, you're still like
You're
front
gonna have
and
to.
loaded on
You're
the
gonna
screen.
have to. Yeah, you're gonna have to edit that out. We don't
Yes,
want.
sir.
No, no, no. We don't
No,
want
he
anyone.
loves it. He actually loves like that's Albie's second favorite activity, eating catnip and then being tossed on the bed. It's just a shot of adrenaline. Let me put myself back on the screen here.
But yeah, what
Uh,
was I saying before I was
I,
rudely
I
interrupted?
was
by my pet?
talking to you about your Bolts being the unbeatable Jets. It seems.
Yeah, so it was honestly a very good game. That was when the Tampa had a 6-day off break, and they said, guys, like we're not shooting enough. I watched the broadcast, and they just weren't shooting enough prior to that game. And I'm happy that John Cooper and the rest of the coaching staff they didn't look at it as a 6-day off like break. They looked under the hood to see what issues they had, and they completely switched their style going into that game against Winnipeg. Like they dummied Winnipeg. They made them look like pigeons. And then, sure enough, I think they were enjoying the beach too much because then they lost to Florida the next day, like 5-0.
Yeah.
So it's like the Jets; those guys are frauds. You don't think they're miserable in fucking Winnipeg?
So whenever they get a chance to leave Winnipeg and they're going to like slightly warmer countries or like anywhere
States.
anywhere in the south of the like in the states, like
Yeah.
we might have to run an analysis through the year. Like the only L's, it's like whenever they're like below certain like uh, radiant of the earth. That's probably not the right term, but you know what I mean. Shout
Whenever it's
out.
3 degrees in Winnipeg and they go to Florida, that's when they can handle a win. But
It's a guaranteed L though. Like the
yeah,
moment that it starts snowing and they go out of Winnipeg to play or somewhere you can walk up in flops,
that's
guaranteed
it.
L. We might have to take that into account for the next buzzer beater bets.
Yeah, and
Um,
lastly, before we move on to
yeah.
another team, in that win, Vasilevsky, my goalie,
Mm-hmm.
300th career win. That is the fastest an NHL goalie has ever reached that milestone. He did it in 490 games. Like that's pretty remarkable, man. Like he's
Yeah.
at the time he was 300 and 190.
Yeah.
That's a pretty decent stat. And yeah, man, I'm just happy for the Bolts. I think that $100 bet is back on, baby.
Every pod is gonna be a different story. It's back on, and
Back
Glen's in
on.
shambles. Now it's back on again. Um,
Easy.
but enough talking about the Bolts. Like, yeah, shout out they won against the Jets, but they might be frauds. We'll see what happens come the playoffs. Like Glen always mentions with the whiteout.
Well, it is $100.
You
Oh yeah, the
mentioned
Jets. Yeah.
Michkov's OT goal on a brutal angle. I think I saw that play, but I can't really remember. Like I saw like Allmark definitely breaking a stick after it, but if you can run us through that play.
Yeah, so I believe Ottawa, they blew like a 3-1 lead or something like that. And Philly pushed overtime. And Michkov, man, this guy was on the goal line. And Allmark, I guess, was cheating to maybe see if Michkov would go around the net. But it was early. It was like he must have cheated very early. And then, boom, easy, like off the side of the body. And yeah, man, Michkov clutches it up in OT, and Allmark, newly signed goalie by the Ottawa Senators, 4 years, 8.25 million. Boom, first broken stick.
Yep.
It's not looking good for the Sens, but can't write them off too early. I could
It
see them making the playoffs
yeah.
over Buffalo or Detroit.
Yeah, like that I wouldn't be surprised, especially where we're at with the season. But I was gonna mention that for all the new goalies that signed those massive contracts, like they were showing like Allmark and Swayman apart. They're both below 900 in the save
Mm,
percentages. They both don't have the start of the season that they were both expecting after cash it in, basically.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, definitely something that we'll have to keep a look. I can't speak. On to the next point. You mentioned a bunch of stats about the Leafs and the Oilers about how like the Leafs are 18-6 against the Oilers in the last
Yeah.
24 games, which includes the past win. Um, you mentioned 2-1 of Draisaitl McJesus. Marner breaks it up because Marner likes to make you eat your words and make your mouth be washed with soap, Glenn.
Yeah. Yeah. Specifically, like Irish Spring body wash soap.
Exactly.
But I don't know why I just said that. It's the most recent body wash I bought from Costco. Shout out to Costco. 8.97 for 2 bottles. Not a big deal.
Not a big deal. 1 liter
But
bottles that will last you for the half a year. So shout out Costco.
100%. So yeah, like that was a massive game heading into Toronto. Best two teams in the country, and they have great star players on both sides. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, Austin Matthews has been injured. We'll talk about where he traveled to later on if we
Da,
remember.
das
Yes.
Auto. That will give you a little clue of where
Yeah.
Austin Matthews flew to. Das Auto.
Freiwillig. But yeah, man, overtime. This like Marner, man, he was bad checking or not even bad checking. He was playing the defensive role
Yeah.
and broke up a crazy pass from Draisaitl over to McJesus, and he like from his hash marks skated all the way to the other side, sniped it, posted in on Skinner, I believe. Unbelievable, and you know, put my words in my mouth, and doesn't feel good. I don't even think like he's going to resign there probably now, but I'm still gonna fucking stick to what I said. I think they're gonna
Like,
have.
do you
Can they
think,
even
like,
afford it?
I don't know. That's the problem. Like, there's rumors that it might be Tavares, it might be him, but they're both, like, performing really well this year. They're both having surprisingly good season. It might be for Tavares that Matthews has missed some times. But even before that, like Tavares was having a great season. Marner's having a great season. They're having potentially a good keeper now, a good keeper duo in Stolars and Wool. So we'll see like how their season goes. Biz is ecstatic with the Bees going down in his Toronto Maple Leafs, maybe getting a easier playoff run. We'll see how things break down for that. But what else broke down is Nurse's face. Got absolutely destroyed by Ryan Reeves.
Yeah.
That got suspended 5 games.
5 games, Saucy.
I have to be honest, so a bit like I did last episode, for those that saw it, where I replaced... Is it this way? I need to do it this way. I don't know, my camera's inverse now. I'm pointing towards the left, but... So I'm going to replace Glen's face by the picture that Glen sent to me, and all you can see is Nurse's body pointing one way, and his head pointing the other, looking directly at the fans.
Yeah.
It's a terrible sight. But I'm not gonna lie. We tweeted on. Glen took care of tweeting it on X, and I'm not gonna lie. Like I laughed for a good 5 minutes, hysterically in bed. My girlfriend was wondering what was happening until I showed her. And obviously, whenever it's a hockey joke, she's like, "I don't get it," and she didn't laugh. But I was killing myself, so I'll make sure to put down the video. Terrible sight. I think the suspension was worth, but.
I think he was just checking to see what people were eating in the first row, like $27 nachos and fake cheese.
The cheese not drippy for that one.
Yeah, but that guy, like Nurse, let's be real. We've been tough on him, but I feel like there's responsibility on both ends here. He's skating around the ice. He's a veteran. Like he should know to look up to see who's potentially about to line him up for a nice hit. The poor guy didn't look up once. And Revo, on the other hand, like he had a lot of time to just hit him shoulder to shoulder, and he went right into that dome. And you saw the blood everywhere. It wasn't pretty, but I believe he's out 5 to 10 days,
which is not so bad considering like what we might have thought could have happened due to, like you said, all the blood on the ice and whatnot. But
must have been a neck, like he pulled the neck muscle like crazy.
Yeah, but based on the picture that you guys will see here soon, replacing Glen's face, it might have been a Glen injury. But we've been tough on him, like you said. But who we need to be tough on is ourselves, because we've been struggling with these buzzer beater bets.
We should honestly change the visual to not line up. We stink.
We actually stink. Like I don't know what's happening. Like once again, I'll start sharing Glen's bet. I'll be quite honest. Like Glen, like we say we say that close enough, but it's still not good enough. Like I guess we could describe Glen's bet being that situation, but. Like, still, shout out to Glen. If you want to talk us through your bet for a little bit here.
I don't.
You don't? No, just a straight L.
It sucks. Like, hindsight's 2020, man. Like, I don't know what to do anymore. I can't get a bet to save my life. Honestly, like, if you had a gun to my head and you say pick one winner, like, it's losing. Like, I'm done. Like funeral for Glenny B. But yeah, Kevin Fiala, he failed to secure a point for me. Would have been nice, but I'm done with just betting in general. Maybe give it 3 days and then I'll put another $20 into the app and then lose it again. More donations. But,
it's perfect. 3 to 4 days just in time for the next buzzer beater bet. That will be posted on our socials.
Yes, sir.
If we step through to mine, just a complete L. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was gonna do the same thing. Ovechkin goal, Carlson assist.
It actually hit like that.
And it hit, I think, 2 games in a row. So that just proves my point that when I don't want to do it, it hits. When I want to do it, it doesn't hit. My bet's just straight up terrible. Like, not sure what's happening with us. Like, I think we have to pick it back up. But while I prepare the little cumulative slide where. Honestly, for you, like,
am I still up?
You're still up, and I think that's because terrible English to start. But I think that you cashing in on that first one with a good amount, like $26 with a $5 bet. It's slowly going down. I give you another week. Like
I do have just one more
you have
week.
a week or two max before hitting the red like me. So we have to pick it back up. Um, we'll figure something out. We'll think about something that's better. We'll post it either Saturday or Sunday on our Instagram. So follow us on that. You
My
can
next
see
one
the
is a
links
winner.
below. Oh, so Glen's guaranteeing. So
It's a Mark Messier guarantee,
yep.
and I might just choose because Mark Messier, he played for the Rangers at that time. It might be a Rangers game. So get ready, folks.
Be on the lookout for that one.
Guarantee win. Put the mortgage on it.
Put the mortgage on it.
With the new
Take a look
lease.
at it on our Instagram. We'll post it there. And
It's
yeah,
tough, man. It's tough.
guaranteed bet by Glen for a return. And talking about returns, let's hop into our next subject. Soon it'll be the return of the PWHL as well for their second year. They announced recently what they call the Takeover Tour. So there are, I'm trying to count how many games, 2, 4, 6, 8 games that will be played across the country, from Seattle to Vancouver to Denver to Quebec City, Buffalo, Carolina, Detroit, and St. Louis. So all markets that don't have a team currently. I think what the PWHL is trying to do, they announced this year that by as early as next year, they're planning on having 2 new expansion teams to bring the total to 8 teams in the league. So I think that these might be some markets that either the league is trying to convince them to participate and join the PWHL next year, or it's just maybe some cities want to see what will be the attraction if people will be interested into buying tickets. I think overall, like, it's great for them. It's always a great show. Like we mentioned last episode with Glenn, that we're probably gonna go watch a game of that
Yes.
Victoire
Love to.
at the Place Belle. So great venue. The team has been great. Like last episode, we spoke about Marie-Philippe Poulin. Like she might be the goat of women hockey. So just getting a chance to seeing her play once, at least in my life, live, would be pretty interesting. So I tried to give a little shout out to the PWHL because honestly, like I really hope that league grows and
For
uh,
sure.
like just like for the women all around the world that have been playing hockey and like for so long they didn't have a league or they didn't have aspirations because they knew that they couldn't make the NHL because of the biases that we see or
Yeah.
for other reasons. I won't get into that point so I don't get
No,
canceled.
let's get political.
Well,
No.
if I get political, I'm probably gonna say something wrong because I'm a dummy. We're just pigeons right here doing a podcast. Um, yeah, talking about pigeons. Keep an eye on our TikToks. Shorts are coming back soon. You'll see 2 pigeons talking about different subjects. Um,
No, but
you,
I like what they're doing here. Like
yeah,
it gives a chance to showcase the league in a different city, and the league will look at these numbers of ticket sales, and sort of sit down at the round table and be like, hey guys, like which 2 cities would be the best number wise, and also which 2 cities are actually showing a lot of interest, and hopefully it's more than just 2, and you never know. It could be a 4. It could be a 4 city expansion out of nowhere.
yeah,
So this is great. There's hockey's huge in North America, and the girls and the women, they want to play too, and they deserve a chance to play. So I love how this league is doing something unique,
yeah.
and yeah, let's just see where it takes us. And yeah, doubling down. I want to go to Montreal, Victoire de
Yeah.
Montréal, une match à la Place Belle avec les amis. Not a big deal.
Not a big deal. And since we're already talking about another league, let's cross across the pond from the other side of Calgary in Russia, where this week we saw Evgeny Kuznetsov, just a straight result of Russian gas, um, decided to take the puck and perform the Michigan in front of the net. Like he's in the
In the
slot.
slot.
Yeah, like in the slot, the puck is just bouncing, and this guy just hits the Michigan, and after hitting the Michigan, hits his classic like eagle celebration. Although he didn't realize that he's not wearing the Capitals jersey anymore, but he has a bunch of like logos So that he might get confused. That might be a side effect of Russian gas. But
Yeah,
what do you think of that goal, Glenn?
it was honestly insane. Like, obviously, he's not thinking of doing that shift. It just this is what's super cool about hockey. There's or just sports in general. The
Yeah,
instinctive thought of like it's a chance to do it. Boom! It's like a split second decision in your brain, and I don't even know how he was able to pick it up on his blade like that. But in the slot, top cheese, it's unbelievable. So shout out to the bird
shout out to the
and
bird. Shout out to the Russian gas where it was feeding another player back here in the AHL, Ovechkin. Um, on an absolute heater. Let me read you some stats here, folks.
go ahead.
Um, so he's 29 goals away from beating the record held by Wayne Gretzky, and that's when people start going crazy. I think he had, yeah, so he had 5 goals in the last 2 games. He's leading the league with 15 this season. He's now 27 away actually from Gretzky's record, and people start talking. They start looking like, hey, he's not just close to being the record, but he's close to being the record in at least amount of gains than the GOAT himself, Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
And that's when our boy, Ryan Whitney from the Spitting Chicklets, came out his cave and tweeted something about it. And can you please tell us what happened, Glenn?
Yeah,
And
so
what's the backstory about Ryan Whitney's and his hot takes? Please tell me, Glenn.
he's a reverse mush. Like or a mush, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
He says something, he gasses a player up, no pun intended with the Russian gas, and sure enough, the opposite happens. The poor guy, he gets a weird leg hit, like leg on leg hit, and it just sucks, man. This guy was legit having like the best season of his career, the best
yeah,
start,
yeah,
and people were saying this guy could break this goal record this year. People were like writing him off, thinking, "Oh, it's gonna take a couple more seasons." But this
exactly.
guy was just crushing it. I have him on my fantasy. Now I
Oh,
got to put him in the IR slot.
yeah, that's a
It's crazy.
bummer.
Some guy was actually trying to acquire him last week for
Yeah,
me. He's laughing at that, but it sucks to see, you know, a 39-year-old who's about to break one of the hardest records ever
yeah.
go down like this. So I hope it's not week to week. It should be day to day with that Russian gas.
Yeah, so
And
they announced it to be a week to week injury.
yeah,
Unfortunately, he's going back to Washington to do further evaluations. I think I read somewhere that like his whole career he only missed like 32 games, and now he gets hit with that injury while he's on a banger. I want to give shout out to the top reply to the Capitals PR tweet today, by some guy called Bedard Glazer. He tweeted, "Send Utah back to Arizona as a punishment." So I thought that was pretty clever. Like we all obviously wish the best for Ovechkin. If the Russian gas needs to have a extra shipment or two for him to come back earlier, um, we're only hoping for that.
yeah,
Um,
we're
we
hoping
got
for a quick recovery for the boy.
Fox. Um, Another news that came out today. We have 2 more news to share with you guys. So this is another, like I guess, tougher one to announce. So the Canucks issued a statement for JT Miller that will take an indefinite leave of absence for personal reasons. So the team really wishes him the best. They want him to
Yeah,
focus on himself and whatever is causing him to leave the team. So we're just hoping that whatever is happening, that everything gets better soon for him. Um, I'm not sure how it'll affect the Canucks. That like we can say like I don't know if the team as a whole had a tough beginning of season, but PD, I think we had mentioned that like did have a terrible start of season. It's picking it back up lately,
yeah.
so we'll see how that affects it. But yeah,
I
that's
was
what.
gonna say I
Yeah,
wrote down the notes that I have an idea about this. I
shoot.
did hear that JT Miller was just rattled in general with Pedersen's play. Like think about it, like no,
Yeah,
straight up.
understandably, understandably.
Like this guy signed a massive ticket. He gets 11.25 million per year
Yeah,
to what? Just like be an average player.
yeah,
So, but look, I know I'm joking, and then Miller was rattled at the poor effort put in by Pedersen, but it's just ironic that now he's doing a bit better, and now JT Miller leaves. But I hope him and his family are okay, and that he gets better. Take as much time as you need, man. Like
Yeah,
everyone's behind you, and hopefully you feel better and you come back soon because that team is sick. That team
they
is sick
are.
when they play well.
Yeah.
So
Like they also had issue with goaltending. Obviously, the whole season, Thatcher Demko has not been playing. Like he has a very weird injury that no one's
yeah,
able to put like a timeable on his return. So that's also been affecting them. But as we saw last year, like when they're healthy and that team's buzzing, like it's a treat to watch. Um,
maybe
w-
quickly.
yeah,
Um, Sprawn got traded last week. You never know if he was doing the guitar moves in the locker room, and now
exactly.
that he's traded, Miller's like, "What the fuck?" Like that's how I was playing super well.
Yeah, like it might have been like a slight depression caused by not seeing the strings being strung anymore. Maybe he wished he played for the Bruins with Sacco. No, I'm not getting there.
Uh,
We're done with the
with the
terrible
puns.
sack puns.
Yeah.
Um, I got one more news here. I guess we can end it on a bit of a positive note. For Kasperi Kapanen, older brother of Habs' potential future legend Oliver Kapanen. But yeah, he was put on waivers by the St. Louis Blues. He had like a good end of season last year with them, but not this season. The start of the season he wanted. He had only 1 point in 10 games. He was put on waivers, and the Edmonton Oilers picked him up. So I don't know if that was a direct result of the Habs, the AHL caliber team beating and shutting out the Edmonton Oilers, which are potential Stanley Cup contenders, and they acted as as an urgency move. I'm just kidding, but I think that can be a great pickup. He's a right-handed forward. They mentioned in the tweet that I read that he was like playing PK time for the Blues, but I don't see that as his role. Like from what
No.
I remember seeing him playing, like he looks like a pure sniper. So having make Jesus around to maybe dish him the puck, like they always try to find the perfect partner. Like it might not always be the best player. I'd like to compare that to Crosby in a way, where he always excelled with those like kind of grindy ass player. Oh my
The
god, just
Dupuis, the Pascal
exactly
Dupuis.
the max style butts. So like the players that will want to grind. So hopefully like if they give him a chance and he sees that that's maybe what he needs, like it'll be a resurgence in his career. But
Yeah,
um,
and one thing that I just thought about was I liked this move by Stan Bowman. It's a little shot back at the St. Louis Blues for offer sheeting two of their
oh,
up and coming stars.
okay,
So it's like, you know what? I know it's not
I like
the
that.
same at like what you did to me, but I'm claiming this guy who has good potential in our lineup.
Oh, I really like that take.
So
Yep.
shout out to Edmonton. Um, they're coming off two weird losses to Toronto and Montreal, so they need a hard-working guy in their lineup, and yes, Barry Kapanen is that guy.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully
yeah,
he
man.
provides that grid and like with the unfortunate like I know that Broberg got injured recently for the Blues that he'll be out week for week and like you said they stole Dylan Holloway so now they steal back Kasperi Kapanen and I
Yes,
like
sir.
that take. Shout out to you, Glenn, and I think that's a great way to end the episode. Honestly, I'll leave the floor. Like I introduced the show this week, I'll let it conclude for this week, episode 7 of the Last Bus podcast.
Yes, sir. Like I had a blast. Um, you know, I might be I said I had a blast, but it might not seem like it. It's winter out here already, and
It's dark outside.
I'm crying already. It's not easy. It's not easy working in the trades and being cold as shit the whole day. Whoever's
Alberta, baby, Alberta.
Berta, Berta, but
Berta.
you got to stick in there. You got to persevere,
Yep.
and that goes out to all the listeners out there. Secret word, comment perseverance down below,
Yes.
along with your gamer tag, because we want to play Fortnite with you starting December 6th. The OG
Mm-hmm.
Fortnite is back,
Yes,
baby.
sir.
That's what you and I grew up on.
Yep.
Grew up on.
Grew
in
up
our
on the game.
20s.
Came out like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. It's not about 8
We're
years
still
old back
growing
then.
up, you know.
Yeah,
But
sound.
yeah, to all the fans out there, Alain mentioned it at the top of the episode. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe for your chance to enter a beautiful Fanatics jersey prize. Not the authentic pro, the right above the practice jersey. It's like kind of nice. Or if you're a woman and you want to have a nice
Or man,
PWHL,
no discrimination on this podcast.
sure. Thank you for
I
bringing
got
that
you.
up.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah, you just choose a jersey of your choice, your favorite team, whatever, favorite player, and yeah, keep growing the channel because we are going to do this forever. We're never going to stop
It's
doing this
never gonna
podcast.
stop.
We
My
don't care about
beard's
the
gonna turn gray. Glenn's hair might restart growing in the future.
No, but
Shout out to Glen.
lastly, before we sign off here, one of my buddies, Tasso, Kalamata Olive Tasso, he trolled me for, who's going to have, what's going to happen first? Our boy Jack winning a game in our fantasy or the Last Best podcast having more than 7 views. I wanted to strangle his hero Pita right off.
Yeah,
He can suck it, but
facts.
he's still a fan. Shout out to Tasso. He watches and likes every episode. That's a beauty, but I got to give it back to the boy. Give me all your best players for fantasy.
And we have to call out the boys too, Daniel and Chris. I appreciate the comments.
Yes.
You gotta watch the epi. I know I said I'm gonna post on Spotify, but actually I might try to do it this week because it might be harder for people. YouTube Premium, you can't leave YouTube on. Let's try to post on Spotify. See if that picks up a couple of views as well. But as always, I'm staying the thunder. I think. I'm just that guy. Thank you for watching, guys. Shout out to everyone. Keep liking, commenting, subscribing. We just lost the half their attention. Mr. Beast would be mad at me, but we'll try to end it fast. Thank you for watching this episode 7 of the Last Blood Podcast. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Bye-bye.